Hello and thank you for joining me once again. Today's episode is going to be episode 4 of the Cult of the Crow, and today we're going to be starting off by facing the Overseer, the Saint of Crows. So we left off last time in room 7, and we worked our way through this locked door here over to this kind of overlook here, and I'm thinking that we can jump down and then go and face the Saint of Crows here in room number 8. And I don't really know like how much of a drop that is right there, but I think what we could do is perform an athletics check, and if we pass that, then we can drop down without any harm, and if we do not pass the check, we could take 2d4 damage for falling from there. So let's start off with an athletics check. And that is an 88, so that's going to be a fumble. That's going to be a critical failure. And we now have critical failures for all kinds of different actions in the game, so we can look up what this is going to be. So if we fail an athletics check, the character pushes themselves too hard during an athletic endeavor, resulting in a mishap. They're going to suffer a -10 penalty to their athletics for the next 10 rooms due to fatigue or potential injury. Okay. So we're going to take a -10 penalty for 10 rooms, and we're also going to take 2d4 bludgeoning damage. So a 3 and a 1, that's going to be a total of 1 damage there. So that will bring us to 17 toughness. Which I will record here. And I'm also going to write that we have -10 athletics for 10 rooms. So we'll have to remember to count that down. Okay, so after falling on our head, we have entered the Overseer's lair, and so now we will face the Saint of Crows. So the Saint of Crows is the leader of the Cult of the Crow, and he stands tall for a human, clad in intricate silver and black armor. Where he steps, soft sibilant whispers echo, and the faint cries of crows and vultures can be heard. A massive archaic great blade hangs from the Saint of Crow's hands, its quillons seeming more like grasping talons as it moves in a gentle, mesmerizing pattern. So he looks to be a very, very deadly sword fighter there. And I've also printed out this combat worksheet that we'll use today for our fight against the Saint of Crows, against the Overseer. And this will help me to do a little bit more tracking of different things that are going on. So for example, we could start off right here with noting that we have -10 athletics after that fumble there. So we'll be using that for the fight today. And then we have all of the attacks and all the stats and attacks of Saint of Crows. So he's humanoid, there's one of them, and he's got 50 awareness, but he also has +20. He's got +20 awareness because of the Overseer influence. And he also has +10 magic resistance because of Overseer influence. So that's going to give him an awareness of 70. It's going to be pretty difficult to get the first strike there. And he has a health of 20. His weak point is the head. He has 2 armor on his whole body, a combat skill of 70, magic resistance of 50, which is actually going to be 60 for this combat. And the traits that he has are horrifying, so we're going to need to be making some checks here for our sanity. And right now our sanity is down a little bit at 8, so that's something that does concern me a little bit. And then he has a ruthlessness of 1, which means that he is able to make 1 additional standard action every turn, so he's going to be making 2 attacks. He is swift, which means that he cannot, I believe it means that when he is defending, like reacting, he cannot have anything that will reduce his abilities, like for example his combat. And then penetrating of 3, so he's able to ignore up to 3 points of armor. And we also need to add the level adaptation, so it's going to give him plus 10 damage. So I'll go ahead and note that here. Plus D10 damage. And he also has plus 1 to armor on all body parts. So he's going to have 3 armor on all body parts. It's going to be difficult to deal a lot of damage to him. But there are some things that we're going to do to try to overcome that. And one other thing to note about him is he has this attack here. If you roll a d6, he has the decapitating blow. And what this attack is that you need to make, first you make your combat check, and then you make a dodge check. And if you fail both of those, then you die. So we can certainly be one-shotted, if you will, by the Saint of Crows here. So I'm not going to hold back at all. I'm going to use what items I can. One thing I'm going to use here is these spike gauntlets. I'm going to activate this fragment, and I have that fragment on my belt right now. So that allows me to activate it as a free action. So I'm going to activate that right now at this time. And what that's going to do is increase the combat and fist weapon skill by 50. So we have plus 50 to unarmed. And the biggest benefit of this is that we're going to get plus 2d6 fire damage. So that's going to be the best thing there. It's going to allow us to get some more damage in, get around this high armor that he has. So again, that's a free action because it's on the belt, so that has already been, that's already going to be activated as a free action. So I'm just going to kind of put a line through that showing that it's being used. And now we can roll for initiative and determine who is going to go first here. So I have rolled an 85, which is going to be over my skill level, and the crow has rolled a 45, so he will have the initiative, so he will strike first. Okay, so with his ruthlessness he gets to have 2 turns, so let's roll for his first turn. And his first turn is going to be a 5, and that is the shiny objects. And the target with the most magical items, relics, and attunement crystals on their person must make a magical resistance check, or spend their next turn trying to drop as many items as they can. So it says 2d3 if it needs to be randomized, so we would drop 2d3 items. I'm guessing 2d3 magical items, relics, and attunement crystals. That sounds pretty bad because that could cause us to lose some of our benefits that we have of items here. Like, for example, with the gloves here, we can re-roll any check. So if we were to fail this dodge check here, we could avoid being decapitated because we could possibly re-roll that check. And I have 3 items that allow me to re-roll a check. So maybe in this case, if I fail the magic resistance check, I might want to use one of these to go ahead and maybe try to pass that check, because I really don't want to give up any of my items. I don't want to have to drop them. So let's see if we can pass the first check here. And the first roll is an 83, and my magical resistance is 60, so that's not going to pass. So we're going to use the reroll any check of the gloves. And I'm going to just write down here gloves to note that I've used that reroll. And that is a 90, so again, that is a failure. Now I could go for another reroll here, and I think we're probably going to want to have to do that. So let's use the reroll on the boots. If this one doesn't work, though, I'll probably let it happen and hope that I don't have to drop the ring. Okay, 72. So we have failed again. I might need to throw these dice at the trash. So do I use the last reroll here? Now I do have a lot of attunement crystals. I have 7 of them. But the other problem is that we would also lose the next turn, because we have to spend the turn dropping items. So it says there to spend the turn dropping items. So I think we'll just go ahead and use the last reroll. We have 1 reroll left on the rings. Right? 30. Okay, so we have passed that finally. And I will note that the ring has been used. And let's hope that he does not roll the shiny objects again for his second turn. 4. Okay, so he rolled the scream. This is a magical attack. 1 target in the room must make a magical resistance check, and if they fail, they're going to suffer D6 psychic damage. And the Sanding Crows will make an immediate headbutt attack as a free action against the target of Scream. So that would mean he will, if he's successful, he'll also go to number 2, the headbutt. So again, we need to make a magical resistance check here. And 63, so unfortunately we did not pass. So it's going to be a D6 psychic damage. So we're going to receive 1 damage converted. And that's going to put us at 16. And now he will go for the headbutt. So he's going to charge forward and slam into the target, and which is going to be us. And we must make an endurance check, or we will fall prone. So I have an endurance of 21. This is not going to be an easy check here. 18? Yeah, 18. Wow. Okay. Very, very fortunate there. Because falling prone, we would then need to spend our next turn trying to get up. And we really needed to attack him as best as we can. And I also have another thing that I'm going to be using for our attack. But let's see if we are successful with our attack first, but we also need to make a check for the horrifying. So we're going to make a resolve check, and that was a 95, so we're going to fail that check, and we're going to take 2 points of sanity damage, which will reduce us to 6. And I'll just go ahead and write that here. So we're now down to 6 sanity. Okay, now we will make a check for combat, and need to decide what attack I'm going to go for here. Probably the precision strike is going to be the best one. The uppercut also would be pretty good, but that also lowers our defense in the next round, so maybe we don't want to do that. So yeah, let's go for the well, with the uppercut, because we have the plus 50 unarmed, we could go for the uppercut, and that would effectively cancel out the minus 30 penalty. So maybe it's best that we just go for the maximum damage here. So go for the highest reward here, risk versus reward. So yeah, let's go for the uppercut, and we're going to aim for the head. Alright, 45, so we are well within our attack skill, and it looks like the Saint of Crows has rolled a 100. So I don't know if that's considered to be a fumble or not. I guess if that's 100, it would not be a fumble, because 99 would be a fumble. So we will. But anyway, he is going to fail his defense, and I didn't need to roll the hit dice because I'm going for the head anyway. So that's going to allow us to have an uppercut to the head here, which is going to be 2d10, and then we also have 2d6 with our fire damage from the fragment. So that's going to be a nice heavy roll there. So let's get 4d10, and then let's get 2d6 fire damage. And actually, I'm not sure if this would be 4d6 fire damage. Yeah, I don't know. I think we'll just say that it's 2d6. Okay. Okay, so 4, that's going to be 1 damage, and 7 is 2 damage, that's 3 damage. Another 7, that's going to be 5 damage, 6, 7 damage, and then our 1, we will add our modifier, and that's going to give us 8 damage total. So he will absorb 3 of that. So that's going to drop him down to 17, which we'll mark with this d20 here. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is a new feature in the second zine, where we can trade some exhaustion. We can do this violent swing here. So it says during combat, a character can choose to gain 5 exhaustion and get an extra standard action during their turn. So we are going to gain 5 exhaustion, and that's going to allow us to attack again. That's kind of a little bit of ruthlessness for the player character. So we've now gone up to 5 exhaustion, although with resistance it's actually only 2 exhaustion. And we are now going to get another turn. And I believe I'm going to do the same roll. We're going to aim for the head, and we're going to do the uppercut. And I can also mark a critical hit there. Okay, so let's roll for combat. Alright, and this time he has rolled 71, which is going to be just 1 over his skill, and I have rolled 54. So we will narrowly win that combat roll, and we will get to do another critical hit. And we're going to roll, again, 4d4 and 2d6. Or sorry, 4d10 and 2d6. Let's see, I got all my d10s here. Need one more d10. Okay. Looks good there. Hoping for better rolls. Oh, I see 2 10s. That's great. Okay, so that's going to be 4 damage, 8 damage, 10 damage, 13 damage, 15 damage, and then we add the modifier, making that 5, 17 damage. And then he will absorb 3, so it's going to be 14 damage is going to get through. And he is going to be down to 3. Alright, okay, so we were not able to kill him this time. So let's hope we can live through one more turn. And I think our chances are good that we can live through one more turn. But how painful is it going to be when we do get our turn? Hopefully we can still do some damage to him. We're not too crippled from whatever he does to us. All right. So now the crow will roll his first turn, and he has rolled a decapitating blow. So first we need to make a physical combat check. Yeah, and this is the attack that I didn't want him to roll. Let's see. Okay, so he's rolled 76, which beats our roll, and his combat skill is going to be 80 right now. So he did beat our roll. So we now need to make the dodge check, and I do not have any more of these reroll abilities. So if I fail this dodge check, then Jed is dead. And we have a dodge score of 62. So let's see here. That those 3 bad magic resistance rolls may have cost us the life of Jed here. Alright, come on. 62 or lower, that's all we need. 53, alright. 53, we were not decapitated. Not this time anyway. But he gets another turn. 1. This is going to be a heavy blow. The Saint of Crows will unleash a powerful strike with the Great Blade. All the creatures in the room need to make a dodge check or suffer d8 slashing damage. Alright, so first we will make a physical attack check. And we also need to roll for hit location. Okay, so 74, so he was successful with his physical attack. So we now need to make another dodge check here. Um, 91, so we are going to fail this dodge check, and we will suffer d8 slashing damage, as well as plus d10 damage. And you know what? I think I forgot to add plus d10 when he did the scream, so we're going to add 2d10. So this is going to be 1d8, 2d10. Alright, we got 1d8 and 2d10. So he has done 2 damage, 5 damage. So he has done 5 damage. So that will drop us down to 11 on the toughness. Okay. All right, we are still narrowly alive here. And I have to hope that we can deal enough damage here. Let's see what we can do. And first thing is to do the horrifying check for our resolve here. So 32, great, we passed that. We'll stay at 6 sanity. And now we're going to roll for combat. And what attack did we do here? Once again, I still have the plus 50 unarmed. So I think again the best thing is to do the uppercut, but we will target the head. As we saw in that second roll of that's capable of doing a lot of damage, well over 15 damage with that, plus the fire gauntlets fragment. So let's roll this. 65, and he has rolled 38. So our roll is better. We will beat his roll. And we will get to attack him here. And so really all we need is just a good roll here, and we should be able to finish him off. What was it? 40, 10, and 2d6. Alright, we got all the dice here. Okay, so we got 110, that's going to be 4 damage, and a 7, that's 6 damage. 7, 8 damage, 9 damage, 10 damage. So we have 10 damage, and he will absorb 3 damage. That means 7 damage remaining, and the crow has been defeated. The Saint of Crows has been defeated. And I think that was really a great example of, even with two high-powered characters, Jed and the Saint of Crows here, even with two very high-powered characters, you can see that combat can be very fast and very brutal in Ker Nethalas. And while it's certainly scary to think about how quickly you can lose your character, it does make combat very, very intense, and I think very fun to play. So that was really a very, very fun fight, and you can see that my strategy was really just to throw everything I had at the crow and just use all my abilities and just basically go for broke to destroy him as fast as possible. And luckily it worked. So yeah, awesome fight there. I'm also still going to take 2d6 fire damage when you exit the room. So let's just roll that now. So that's going to be 2 more damage, down to 9. And then I will roll 1 for healing. And yep, just a 1. So we're up to 10. So we now have 10 toughness. And then let's calculate the experience here. So we've just defeated the Overseer. And that's going to be plus 200 experience. So that will be 870. Getting very close to level 6. Alright, now, and the next thing is that when you defeat an Overseer, I believe you can roll. I believe you can roll D4 Sanity. Okay, yes. So when you defeat an Overseer, you get to have D4 Sanity recovery. So let's roll for that. 4, very nice roll. Bring us up to 10 Sanity. The all-important Sanity. Always important to keep it in check in the Necropolis. And what sort of spoils do we get from Crow? 1 roll on the value valuable table and 1 roll on the precious table. So we have drawn another attunement crystal. And what are we going to get on the precious table? A magic item. So I now have 4 magic items that need to be identified. And I have 8 attunement crystals. So we got plenty of crystals to identify those items, and I think having a camp soon would be a good idea. 1 more overseer defeated. Saint of Crows, we'll just put it right down here. And we defeated the Saint of Crows. And also we used our Spike Gauntlet fragment, so that is gone. I'll put that card back into the deck. Okay, so we can now move on to the next room, which is going to be, let's see, we have just finished the Rookery, room 7, and oh yeah, we still can have a scavenging check here. 25, nothing there. So we have finished room 8, the Rookery, and next is the Gullet. We can move into the Gullet, or we can also move to the number 10, the Charnel Pit. And it says the Gullet here, the cultists of the Crow play games with their captive. Against the far wall, shackles hang limply. The wall around it is scored with arrow marks, blade chips, and stained with dried blood. And there's going to be D3 Crow cultists and 1 Corby Knight in this room. So D3 Crow cultists could be a lot. That could actually be 6 Crow cultists. So before going in there, we might want to camp if we were going to do that fight. And then what about 10, the Charnel Pit? Here the sacrificial remains of the cult's victims are tossed, bones, blood, and flesh in scarred positions, all at the bottom. Large shaft along something scrabbling and hauling. The walls have deep gouges, as if something was trying to climb out. And this room has the rock skeleton. And oh yeah, like this is the room where for every room that we have cleared, we get to make a spoils roll. So if we were to clear the Gullet first and then come here, we would get to make 8 spoils rolls. So we did not go into this into room 6, so we get 8 spoils rolls if we go here first. So I think now is probably a good time for camping. What we will do in the next episode is we will start off by camping, and we will identify 4 magic items. So if you want to see a lot of really fun magic item generation, join me for the next episode where we will camp and generate a bunch of magic items. And we'll try to get everything recovered before we go and face potentially as many as 6 cultists in a night. That we go to the Charnel Pit and get a bunch more spoils after we finish the rock skeleton, and that will finish out the Cult of the Crows. So join me for what should be the last episode, and going to be a ton of loot, a bunch of loot, and hopefully some of that loot is going to be enough to help us get through the Bleak Threshold. So thank you once again for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.